Hi everyone, my name is Kevin Bees. I'm the Biking for Babies training specialist. So I'm very excited to be working with you guys this year. This video is just going to do a short introduction on some of the basic things that you should be doing now in preparation for our ride in July. Super exciting! And to get started, I'd like to read this Bible passage for you guys just to meditate on during this video and hopefully while you're training. It's 1 Corinthians 9:24-7, okay? And it goes like this. Do you not know that the runners in the stadium all run in the race, but only one wins the prize? Run so as to win. Every athlete exercises discipline in every way. They do it to win a perishable crown, but we an imperishable one. Thus I do not run aimlessly. I do not fight as if I were shadowboxing. No, I drive my body and train it for fear that, after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. I really like this verse, especially as we dive into training, because one of the things we cannot do is train aimlessly. We have a mission on Biking for Babies, and that is to glorify God with our physical gifts that He has given us and the time that He has given us to prepare for such a ride, and to show the world why we're so happy to be alive, why we're so happy to be here and sacrifice essentially a week of a lot of physical activity for the greater good of these women and children. Okay, so never lose that focus in your training. I believe there are 3 critical things that make up the biker, and being physically fit is just one of the small ones. In fact, I think it's the smallest. You have the physicalness, your capability to endure physically, your capability to endure mentally, and your capability to endure spiritually. And I promise you the devil is going to attack you on the spiritual front more often than the other 3. So while you're sitting there thinking, I've never biked 100 miles, I've never done this before, I need to train really hard. Do not lose sight of training yourself spiritually and mentally along with the physical training. And that's why I read this passage to you today, because you need to keep that aim so that you have that discipline to make sure that you're doing what you need to do to be prepared for this ride. So that sounds really philosophical, but just some basic things that I actually do in my training regimen now is I actually listen to Christian music while I work out. It just keeps me focused. It keeps me aware of what I'm actually working out for. If you're not really into that music, that's fine. Some people will actually listen to the Bible while they work out, or they might have this verse that they meditate on for each workout. Any way that you can keep God present in your exercise, I believe, is going to prepare you better and help you remember why you're pushing yourself now. Why are you pushing yourself to do what you're going to be doing in July? Okay, so I'm done with kind of the big philosophy, big picture things. So let's get down to some specifics. In this video, I'm going to talk about, briefly touch on nutrition, briefly touch on where you should be with your bike training, and briefly talk about some ways that you can prevent injury, because that is actually a big part leading up to a ride. Some people get a little gung-ho happy and jump into it and end up making their bodies worse for the wear once July comes around. So first, let's talk about nutrition. Now, when I say nutrition, I'm not going to delve into you need to be eating this many carbs, protein, blah, blah, blah. If you have specific nutritional needs or interests, feel free to contact me on your own time. Give me a call, email, whatever. What I do want to talk about are 2 main points that everyone should be doing right now. 1 is making sure you're drinking enough water, and 2 is trying to get in the habit of eating food before you exercise or eating an early breakfast. The reason I say this is because on the ride we generally get up around 5:30, 6 o'clock and are on the road at sunrise, and we have to eat before we get on the road. That way we're not starting at a negative caloric intake. So getting your body used to exercising and going throughout the day with food in you is essential for this ride. Alright, the next step in your training, which is probably the one that you're wondering the most about, is actual bike training right now. Most of you are probably indoors, and that's okay. In your manual, you will see the bike training guide, and as it's kind of laid out, April, May are really the months that you need to get outdoors. So if you haven't gotten outdoors, that is fine for right now. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be on a bike. You definitely need to be on a stationary bike and getting your legs used to being in that position for long periods of time. But what I want you to focus on this time while you're indoors is your speed and the resistance that you're biking at, or the power output that you have. So if you're on an indoor bike, make sure you're keeping track of your RPMs or how fast you're biking a mile. Most indoor bikes tell you what miles you're going at. It's not necessarily the same as an outdoor bike, but it'll at least give you a sense of how fast you're biking. And like I said, the second is the resistance. You hopefully are increasing your resistance throughout this month leading into April. The reason I say that is, although we're not racing essentially, but we are trying to get to destinations on time and get to events. Therefore, our speed is actually very important. So the better you can be prepared at biking fast, the more prepared you'll be for the ride. Okay, and the last thing when it comes to bike training right now is be focusing on your core. Again, I list out some core exercises in the manual, so I'm not going to delve into that too much. But now is a great time, without being outdoors on the bike, and focusing on your core, which is essential for stabilization and making sure that your back doesn't get too tired while biking throughout the day. The last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is stretching, okay? What you guys need to be preparing for right now is to not be injured for the ride. Sometimes we get a little nervous. I know it's a lot of miles, but right now you don't need to be packing on the miles, and you don't need to be shortening up your muscles in preparation for July. So you need to have a good stretching regimen, and what I mean by good stretching regimen is you need to be stretching each muscle, so quads, hamstrings, calves, low back, shoulders even, especially being in that biking position. You need to be stretching those muscles about 2 to 3 times a day, 3 sets for 30 seconds, okay? The reason why this is so important is this is how you avoid being injured in June and maybe, heaven forbid, July, okay? We want you to be fresh. We want you to be prepared. So stretching and making sure that you're increasing your miles and your speed gradually right now are going to be what allows you to feel the best, to make you feel the best biker that you are in July. If that makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense. But yeah, so just make sure you're taking care of your body. Make sure that you're not trying to do this all at once. This is a process. I promise we've done this before, and we'll get you confident and ready for the ride in July if you kind of follow these steps and follow the training guide in the manual. That's all I have for you guys today. Praying for you. Keep your spirituality in your workouts. Keep God in your heart, and keep the mission on your mind. And I promise you that all your preparation is going to be rewarded in July. Talk to you guys soon.